Hi, I'm Stephanie Hostin, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. I am part Salvadoran, Black, Native American, and European. My mom is Salvadoran. My dad is Black and Native American and European.
Hey, my name is Kathleen Neubauer. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I just moved out here about 2.5 years ago. Well, I'm half Filipino, half German. My mom's Filipino, my dad's German, and I would say maybe like 3% French.
My name is Chanel Meliton. I am originally from San Bernardino, California. I would identify myself with African American and Caucasian.
My name is Ben Guppy. I'm originally from South Korea. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin. I would almost not necessarily say Korean all the way, and I guess sort of white. I don't know. For me, I guess I just identify as Ben Guppy.
I'm Priscilla. I'm from Orange County and I'm an actress. I'm Mexican and Italian.
I'm Meredith. I'm originally from Ohio, but recently I moved to Studio City, California. I'm Chinese and white.
My name is Sky Bazzato. I'm from Los Angeles, though I grew up and was born in Southern California. Half Taiwanese on my mom's side, and a quarter Russian, quarter Italian on my dad's side.
I'm Dre James. I'm from originally born in California, but I was raised in Washington, D.C. and Maryland area. My mother always told me I was half Mexican and half Black.
I think I definitely had my identity crisis in middle school and probably a little bit in elementary school. I had a lot of people who just kind of accused me of not being like Black enough, or like they thought I wasn't Black at all, like kind of telling me who I was. Even my Latina side, you know, like it's there, but because I grew up in such a different culture. I don't know, let's say I go to like a Hispanic restaurant or something and I go in, and sometimes people don't know whether to talk to me in Spanish or they talk to me in Spanish right away, and it's great, but it's like nobody really knows how to approach me because of the way I look. There's certain things that are very, very American about me.
When I was in 3rd grade, I was bullied. I was the only I guess Asian in high school. It was a little tough because like in the lunchroom, like, oh, where do you sit? Who do you identify yourself with? Do I sit with the all Asian group? Do I sit with the white group? So that in that case, it was very hard for me in high school. So I found myself just sitting with a couple people who were mixed race. So even though I identify myself more as Filipino because I was raised by my mom. But
I had a friend sleep over, and she asked me, she was like, are you Black or are you white? That kind of made me a little self-conscious, I guess. That was the first time it really made me aware in society that you have to choose, I guess. President Obama, he's half Black and half white, but they're like, oh yeah, our first Black president. They never say our first biracial mixed president, you know.
A lot of the times, like when I straighten my hair and I have my bangs out, a lot of people think I'm Vietnamese, so they come to me asking like their questions in Vietnamese, and I'm like, I don't really know. So I decided to learn a little bit.
I was just walking around downtown and he literally screamed out, "I hate Asians." And I just kept walking. I thought of two things. First of all, if I was 100% Asian, I'd be like, oh, that guy's a racist. Like, I should go do something about that, whatever that might be. I'm obviously multi-ethnic. I thought of it more as, you know, I'm just half insulting him because I'm not fully Asian, but he doesn't know that. So at the same time, I'm thinking to myself like, oh, okay, I'm not nearly as offended as he probably wanted me to be.
It's weird to identify what I identify as because of having so many, I guess, labels imposed on me growing up. And that struggle just kind of comes from people telling me what I am, saying I'm not enough of something or too much of something else. Growing up in Wisconsin, it was predominantly white. You know, I had a lot of close Black friends and Hispanic and Latino friends because, you know, we were kind of the minority. I would have arguments with my friends about I'm Korean, but the argument would always be, no, you're not. But you're not Asian. You don't speak Korean, you know, okay, you do martial arts, but you're not involved in like the Korean culture or anything like that. I was adopted by a white family, and a lot of people seem to think that like, oh wow, adoption isn't just something you see in movies or TV.
I have a memory of coming home from kindergarten and crying and asking why I didn't look like the other kids in my class. I went to a Christian school, predominantly white. I didn't look like my mom. It never occurred to me that people assumed I was adopted, that she wasn't my biological mom until it was, I was made aware of that by other people. I wish so bad that I was fully Chinese or fully white, so I wouldn't get the question, what are you? Where are you really from? I just wanted people to know and not worry about it.
After time we did a DNA test, and I got it back like about a month ago, and I found out I'm everything. I'm actually African-American. I have also, it says I have British, I have Irish, I have Arabic, I have Indian, and Asian.
My identity is different because of what I recently did with my DNA test. So now I know I'm a little more details that even my mom doesn't know. And for one example, I'm 6% Indonesian Malaysian, which explained my darker skin, because a lot of Taiwanese Chinese have lighter skin. And so it's about 45% Chinese. I'm actually not Russian specifically. And not as much Italian as I thought. I'm only an eighth Italian, or 14%. You name it, I've got it. Like Northern and Western and Southern Europe.
In the world that we live in, I don't get to bathe in white privilege. So you can't call me white and think that I get to live my life the same way that a white person does. My younger white sister has a very different experience of life than I do. And at the end of the day, she's white and I'm Asian. And that's how people are going to see us, So it's very frustrating for me when somebody says I'm not Asian or I'm not Korean, because I grew up white, under white culture, because I don't get to live my life the same way they do.
We define ourselves, There's people that, even in Brazil, they have people that are actually Japanese, but because they grew up in Brazil, they're Brazilian. So, you look at them, you're gonna think they're Japanese, but when you hear them talk, it's Portuguese. So we can, pretty much define what we wanna be. So me, it's not a problem. Growing up, when I was around the blacks, they didn't really consider me all the way black. You're something different. And then even when I did think I was Mexican or whatever, obviously you're not one of us, So I'm always kind of like that other.
The roles that I go out for are becoming better and better just because they're asking for more diversity in the media. Because I am brown, people expect me in casting rooms to know how to be Latina, to know Spanish really well. I've kind of been brought in for roles that are very, very different from who I am, which is exciting because I'm an actor, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but what about the collegiate Latina girl? I've gone in for cartel girl, girl from the wrong side of the tracks. There hasn't really been a point yet where I've gone in for the normal girl.
I work in the entertainment industry, and as of lately there have been doors opening up for multi-ethnic groups.
I get a lot of jobs because of it. I'm an actress out here, and it's a positive thing because right now many of directors are looking for ethnically ambiguous looks.
I have several producing credits to my name on short films. The one thing that has really bothered me is a lot of people come to me to produce their movies as the guy who brings in the money. Well, you're Asian, don't you just have money? Didn't you grow up with Asian parents? Don't you guys just have money lying around because you're all stingy and you know how to save and you know how to do accounting, and they just assume I'm loaded to just throw around thousands of dollars because I'm Asian and I have money.
I worked in a restaurant for 4 years, and I had a coworker who didn't bother to learn my name. She just referred to me as Fine China for 4 years. But again, I was a very mild person when I worked there. I didn't really say anything about it. Just being part of the theater department, I knew looking the way I was, I probably was never going to get the lead, ingenue role. But I knew I could get the quirky best friend. I knew I could get the exotic, bigger character looking the way I did.
I get more roles because people think I'm white-ish. And then I get a lot of Latin roles too. I've worked also retail. People are more willing to come to somebody if they look like they're part of their culture, or they feel like they can connect to you a little way. So when I worked retail, a lot of Asians would come to me, a lot of Hispanic women would come to me and ask questions versus somebody that looked completely white or completely Asian, because they feel like they can connect to you, or like, hey, you know what, there's somebody else that's like me, let me go talk to this person.
What I do, I'm an actor, I do directing, and I'm also a fight choreographer. At my job, we sometimes get hired basically on our background. So like on certain nights they want a certain race there because the other race will respect this race. So even within my job, a black guy one time said, "You're not all the way black, so we don't call you black." I'm like, what? I was like, okay, but I grew up in DC, so no matter what you say, I'm probably more blacker than you. The entertainment industry, you know, they like to typecast and stereotype and all that good stuff. And so my roles have been limited because of that. Like I always am gonna be the gangster or the thug or some kind of bad guy, you know, and like I wanna be the other guy, I wanna be the hero, the action star. So yeah, it has affected me.
Diversity is important to me because different cultures provide different points of view. I think, you know, from music to just pop culture to history and, you know, language, everything is just so different in each culture and it's so rich. I think having so many different cultures provides us with answers for a lot of the problems we have in this world. So the more we listen to each other, I think the better.
It's so important to be self-aware of your own culture because if you know where you came from, you have pride in yourself. Diversity is different types of human identities, whether it's sex, socioeconomic status, gender, the list goes on. If we have a sense of awareness about each person and their background, we become less judgmental. And once you are able to learn of different ethnic backgrounds and diversity and cultures, you become appreciative of the world.
Diversity is important because I feel this world is moving definitely more towards that than not. And within myself, I know in being diverse, I can pull from those experiences and understand how other people would feel and extrapolate from those experiences as well.
I know your culture doesn't define who you are, but it does make up a part of who you are. We're not all the same. We don't come from all the same places. And to look at everybody as such as just being white, just being Asian, just being this, that, I think that's detrimental to understanding people and learning about them.
It's good to know your history. It's good to know like where you come from. And sometimes you're not the only one that's going through difficulties.
What makes diversity important to me is that we all should know about other cultures, you know, in order to be open-minded and you know, not approach someone or something with judgment.
Diversity is important because like it just allows you to open your mind and not be limited. There's like once you limit yourself, you're pretty much not growing. But to open your mind and be diverse, there's so many doors that open to you, so many people that you meet, you know, so many wonderful things to learn. And self-awareness of your culture is great because you can always build too, you know. I can always adapt. You know, me being a martial artist, I've adapted a lot of Asian ways, and it's wonderful because it's taught us discipline, you know, and shown us how to see the world differently. So that's why I have more of an open, positive perspective.
I think it's important for people to have an awareness of their culture because it defines them as a person, so they have an understanding of their people, where they come from, what their culture historically brought to the world. And so I think having that self-awareness opens you up to a lot of possibilities, opens you up to a lot of opportunities. Diversity is extremely important to include everyone because we can all learn something from each other and how our stories are presented and how it connects us.
If you ever were to encounter someone who was multi-ethnic, embrace who they are and not deny who they are. I think that's something that some people find difficult to do.